everyone, today I am here with my fall wrap-up. The last wrap-up video I did was at the end of August, and it is now the beginning of December. So these are the books that I've read in the 3 months in between, which really is just the 2 months after August, because I did not read anything during the month of November. Here is my fall wrap-up. After August, the first book that I read was Sisters Read by Jackson Pierce. This book is pretty much a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood. She has a sister. It's a little bit more realistic in the fact that the wolf does kill Grandma, they don't get Grandma back. I was kind of caught in between this book and Princess Bride. I wasn't sure which one to read. I figured I'd read this one because it's a new story and I know the story of Princess Bride, so I read this one first. It was pretty good, I believe. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. It wasn't amazing, but I liked it fairly well, and I even lent it to a coworker so that he could read it. After Sisters Read, I read The Princess Bride by William Goldman. I have a review video on this that you can look at if you want my full thoughts on the book, but I did love this book, and I love the movie so much. It's one of my favorites. I enjoyed this book, and the movie did fairly well following the book. I enjoyed it. If you want to know the rest of my thoughts on it, you can watch my review on it. After The Princess Bride, I listened to Hounded by Kevin Hearn. It is the first book in the Iron Druid series. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It's kind of an urban fantasy type thing where the subject matter is druids, and I found it very entertaining. This first book was a really good book. After Hounded, I found in the bookstore part of the Walmart that I work at, I read The Beast Within by Serena Valentino. It is a very short book. It is a Disney published book. Despite the fact that Beauty and the Beast is my favorite Disney movie of all time, this book only got 3 out of 5 stars. I liked it alright, but it could have gone into so much more detail. So for the story, it only gets 3 out of 5 stars. And really, my most favorite thing about this has to be the cover. Because if you look at the cover with the jacket, you have Beast very big on the front. But when you take the jacket off, you actually have the prince underneath. You get Prince, Beast, Prince. So it's one of my favorite naked books because you have the person underneath the beast. After The Beast Within, I read Hexed by Kevin Hearn, which is the second book in the Iron Druid series. It also got a 4 out of 5 stars. It was pretty good. They both were really actually pretty amazing, and I enjoyed the series, and I'm kind of looking forward to reading more. I probably won't do that until next year though, because it takes longer for me to listen to the audiobooks, which is what we have for these, than it takes for me to read physical books, and I'm kind of in a hurry to get books through the end of the year. After I finished Hexed, I picked up Hammered by Kevin Hearn. It is the 3rd book in the series, and in this book they go after the god Thor. It was not my favorite book in the series. It was really slow, and it did take me quite a while actually to get through it, which is part of why there are so few books, even though this wrap-up covers a couple of months. It just wasn't written as well. I can't really say why I didn't like it quite as much, but I didn't. So it only got 3 out of 5 stars. I liked it, but I didn't love it. After Hammered, I read Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. This book I also gave a 3 out of 5 stars. This wrap-up is not my highest rated wrap-up that I've done. It's probably actually the lowest as far as the number of stars I've given out. I read this book because there's been so much hype around it, and I enjoyed it. It was not amazing to me. I did not get as much pleasure as some of the other people I've seen get out of this book. I will continue reading the series, but I'm not in any particular hurry to do so. I did enjoy that in this there are lots of pictures that go along with the story that he worked in there, and are actually found photos. He did not, make any of the pictures for the book. He kind of wrote the book around pictures that he had found, and I did actually really like that bit. After Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, I picked up The Iron Trial by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. I don't think I've actually read any Holly Black, but I have read Cassandra Clare. I love the Mortal Instruments series and the Infernal Devices, and this book is pretty and, captivating, so I picked it up at work, ended up buying it. It got a 4 out of 5 stars. The series has some major potential. Unlike some of the people on BookTube that I watch, I could see quite a bit of comparisons to Harry Potter. Yes, of course, it has its differences, but you've got kind of the same dynamic forward group where you've got 2 guys and a girl, and obviously the girl is going to end up with one of the guys. The bad guy character does have a spy in the School of Magic. It's different, but I can definitely see where people are saying that there are similarities. It is very good. It was a good book, and I do look forward to reading more of these, and it's one that I will buy all of the books too. After Iron Trial, I picked up Knights of the Round Table Gawain by Gwen Rowley. It is a romance novel. It says paranormal romance on the spine. There was a little bit of magic to it, and in essence, what it was is that Gawain falls in love with this girl, finds out that she uses magic, and kind of kicks her to the curb. So to get revenge, she casts a spell on herself to turn her into an old hag and uses blackmail to marry him. Something happens, and that spell kind of becomes semi-permanent. Unless he actually learns to love her, then she'll be stuck as this old crone forever until she dies, which, because she's old, could happen at any moment. It was not an amazing book, but I did get through it fairly quickly, but then it's romance, and I read through those fairly quickly because you don't have to think about them too much as you read them. I did give it a 4 out of 5 stars, and I ended out the book reading before November with a reread of Daughter of the Blood by Anne Bishop. This is probably my all-time favorite series. It is extremely dark and haunting, but also so beautiful. And in this specific book, you have 2 guys who are essentially pleasure slaves, and they have been in captivity for long enough that it's starting to drive them crazy. And they are long-lived races. They are 1700 years old at the time that most of this story takes place. And pretty much what it is this girl on the cover is born, and she will grow up to kind of be their savior. And she has some pretty horrible life that she goes through because she's different, and her parents don't see the different as a good thing. They see it as insanity, and they don't pay a lot of attention to what it is that she does, and they think that pretty much all of it is that everything she says is a lie. So when she asks for help, they think it's just her making up stories. It is a very dark series, but also extremely beautiful and extremely well crafted. The world that was built in this is really and truly amazing. That was all I did for my wrap-up. I didn't read a single thing during the month of November. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!